And you're live. Amazing. Awesome. Hi, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're starting just a bit earlier, a few minutes earlier, to make sure that we're going to cover today's topic. Allow me to also go live on Instagram. This session right now is streaming live both on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube as well. So, hello to everyone watching right now. My name is Noemi. I'm the founder of ScaleWave, and today, while we are always talking about an Ask Me Anything Amazon PPC related, and especially we're focusing on Amazon ads beginner questions, today I wanted to create a different episode, just a bit of switch and twist to it, since for the last episode I got a lot of feedback when it comes down to how to treat questions when it comes down to agency related questions, which are the things that you should be asking the agency that or the service provider that you are going to consider. And really most importantly, the questions that I'm going to present today are my personal questions that I scrupulously put together for the past 5-6 years, since we've been hiring both agencies, white label, contractors, freelancers. And these are the things that are going to be very, very helpful for you also to ask, especially if you are thinking on hiring a next Amazon ads provider. So that being said, allow me to also just make sure that we are streaming correctly on all the platforms. While usually these sessions we are dedicating a full hour, today's session is going to be around 30 to 35 minutes. Simple reason for that, I am right now in week 39 of pregnancy, believe it or not, and at any point in time my water can break. So if you're up to on the edge when it comes down to Amazon ads, partnerships, agencies, and also some fun facts and fun things to watch in the meantime, you are in the right spot. All right, so I'm going to head straight ahead with the questions that I have prepared. And these are my personal questions. And these are questions, most of them are my personal questions. Some of them are questions that I'm noticing the best brands that we've ever worked with were asking. And those were the right questions to ask. And unfortunately, what I'm seeing right now, and especially with, everyone who's trying to hire an agency, I'm not talking only about Amazon PPC, even if that is the topic that it's related and it's relevant for today's session. In generally, whenever they are hiring a service provider, they are going to miss asking these questions. So it's coming simply from two spots, my personal questions and also questions that I saw brands asking me. And without further ado, we are streaming on all platforms. Brilliant. So we're streaming right now on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. Feel free to drop in the comment section your question if it's Amazon ads related. We are still going to pile them and answer them probably in the next session. But for today, just quick reminder, topic of the day is Amazon PPC agencies, simply because it's about Amazon PPC. But this same concept you can apply to any service provider that you would hire, whose pricing is $500, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000. These are the questions that I wish I would have asked earlier. So based on that, I'm going to ask the questions that I see that are the best when it comes down to agency. So the first question that is not very often asked is what is included in your service and what is explicitly not included. This is very important no matter of the provider that you are hiring. Simple reason for that, most of the time what is going to happen, it's not as much about the provider and their services or you as a brand owner or founder and whatever you expect from them, but literally there's no communication between. You consider that if they are going to say that they are providing these 5 things, they're also going to provide consulting, they are also going to provide, oh look, this is what happened, what is your thought on that, So imagine it this way, the moment that you are going to a doctor, and let's say this is a heart doctor, a heart specialist, and they know ins and out about your heart. How does your heart work and everything that is related to that? And then you're asking them, look at that, like my hair is not growing properly. Do you think that this has to do with my heart or something like that? And they are going to like, probably not. It's not going to do anything with your heart, but I'm here because I'm a provider. I'm going to listen to. But at the end, what is going to happen is that if you're expecting them to give you a perfect answer to whatever is going on with your hair and whatever, or something like that, they are not going to be able to answer you the questions that you're looking for, right? So they are specialists in everything that is heart related. The same way, what is very important for you to ask whenever, before you would even consider a provider, and this is during an interview process, when you're interviewing many providers or many freelancers, many contractors, what is within the scope of your service and what is not, because then you will know clear expectations both on their ends and both on your end. Second question is, who will actually be handling my account day to day? Now, why is this really important is because most of the time, again, being super transparent with you, we are the agency. I am the founder of the agency. I'm also the main strategist still in the agency. Reason for that is because our agency right now is more a white glove agency. We are not handling hundreds of accounts right now. But the moment that I would be a founder of an agency that's handling 50 plus, 100 plus, 200, 500 clients, you cannot expect me to be in the day-to-day of your business. One, because that means that I am not efficient as a business owner, right? The same way how you, who's handling how do I grow my brand? How do I bring new products? How do I increase my profit margins? You are looking for someone to specifically manage your ads or create your creatives or do this and that, right? So it's not expected of you to handle all the parts of your business. The same way, depending on whoever is the founder, CEO of the business, they have their specific role of growing whatever is there and making sure quality control on the systems that they put together is there. So that's why I'm saying that it's really important for you to ask this question, who's going to be handling the day-to-day of the account? Because sometimes these questions are coming up of, is it you? Is it within the US, whoever is going to handle my account, or are you outsourcing this? And while this might seem as an intelligent question, usually whenever brands are asking, a better question would be, all right, so who's my go-to person if X happens? Why am I saying that? Is because if you are going to have direct access to the strategies and that is also the founder of the business, usually that is not the best, because what is going to happen is if they don't have a system in place to empower the employees that are underneath them, or if the employees that they already have, they are not way better at strategy than the founder itself is, what you're going to end up with is like always this bottleneck of back and forth and like what is going to happen and then who is going to implement and so on and so forth. So what is really important for you to ask instead of this, what you're looking into, who's handling my account, basically is the person that is going to report to me on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis, whatever the sequence of reporting is that person someone that I can talk to as quick as possible? They can answer me. They have the right answer, meaning that if I'm asking for the strategy of how to go to 5 million overnight, are they the person that are going to be able to answer that question? Or is this person someone that's going to bring to the strategist who is looking right now and managing technically the strategy on an account level, going to be able to answer? And that way you will know clearly, all right, so the person that right now is in your day-to-day, that is managing the account, that it's keeping it alive, might not be also the person who's going to create the strategy. Really, really important. But also I think this is something that most brands are not asking and most founders are not asking. Now, the next question is, how do you decide what to prioritize inside the account? This is a really good question that most of the time it's never coming up. And this is the question that I started to ask more and more, especially whenever I'm hiring, not necessarily agencies, but smaller agencies. Why am I asking this question? How do you decide what to prioritize inside the account? Is because what I want to know is, do they have a copy-paste way of doing everything within one account. So onboarding, and then they are doing their routine and their systems and their processes in place? Or are they going to be specifically to my needs? What are my needs, my brand's needs, whatever I want to achieve, whichever are my goals? Are they within whatever they're already generating or already producing on a day-to-day basis within their systems? And why is this important is because most of the time, you see, it's easy to take over an account and implement your strategy. But whenever you know as a brand owner or founder that, hey, I have this specific bottleneck within my business. I tried XYZ already. It's not working. I tried the other things as well. It's not working right now. I am 2 years in and I still haven't figured out at this point. I'm considering, should I just close the business or should I just move to another idea or so on? And then if they are able to let you know the way how they would prioritize, that would allow you to say, hey, are these providers also strategic thinking? So do they implement strategic thinking while they're managing my account or not? So that is really, really important that you should be asking. And what I personally am looking as answer to this question is, are they able to see my pain and are they able to address my pain right away? Because if they are not, probably what I'm going to end up with is they're going to be brilliant managers, but they are never going to help me get to the actual goals or fix the actual problems that I am seeing right now my brand has or my business has. Next question would be, how do you define success in the first 30, 60, and 90 days? This is a brilliant question to ask. Reason for that is because you might have a different goal for whatever you envision the provider is going to provide, and they might have a totally different goal for it. And why am I saying that? Is, again, from previous experience, what I noticed is whenever we took over account and also whenever we outsourced part of the business like sales, marketing, and so on, and we expected providers to take over that part of the account, and then we were asking, okay, what do you see success looks like? It's like, we're going to try and we're going to see, and if it's working, we're going to double down. And don't get me wrong, that is also my go-to answer, especially if I'm not super familiar with what is going on with the brand, and if I don't want to give them 5 hours of free high-level consulting for nothing, So that might be a go-to question when it comes down to service providers. But when it comes down to how to define success within the first 30, 60, and 90 days, decide for yourself when you go and get together and see if this is a good fit for me within the first 30 days, which are the things that I am going to see. And usually those things that you might be seeing are specifically related to whatever the provider is really good in. So either it's super quick communication, either they are going to clean up the account as quick as possible if already the account had been managed either by you, either by someone else. Either they're going to make sure that if you told them that, hey, I am seeing a super high increase in my costs right now, I'm not profitable, can you make me profitable? And then you're going to track that. But that should be the only and most important goal to track. And why am I sharing this with you? I actually had an experience, interesting learning lesson experience. We managed a brand, and usually while I would say that this is a problem of smaller brands than larger brands, they were still doing around 6 figures per month. So they weren't a small brand necessarily, but they were like, hey, I made this amount right now, my Amazon ads are just double, triple, can you help me reduce the ads? And what we did on our end, while we do have this specific playbook and checklist of making sure that we're deploying all the assets within, knowledge base and creating new campaigns and so on, for this brand particularly, we decided to not even start new campaigns, but they said, hey, I'm bleeding money, I want to make more. And then what we did, we literally saved them $7,000 per month. And that was a huge goal for us, because we did literally save them money. Now, on their end, because for them, the goal shifted like, all right, you're saving this money, but you actually did not create the new campaigns, and therefore you did not provide the service that I was asking for. I'm like, yeah, but I just explained to you, if we're going to also create new campaigns right now with the whole process that we are doing, we are not going to be able to quickly in the next 30 days prove you and show you that this is actually possible. Also for our end was, hey, can we actually make it work? Because it's not anymore an ad spend, inefficient spend issue, but would become of which are the right keywords to target moving forward, so we are not going to lose market share. And yes, this is why I'm asking, knowing how do you define success for the next 30, 60, 90 days, and knowing them how they would define that success, it's going to tremendously help in setting the clear expectations. Next question, I am paying for execution only or execution plus strategic consulting? Brilliant question to ask. Why am I saying this? It's interesting that I believe that right now, just because it became way more competitive, the marketplace, and there are so many people who tried Amazon and Amazon did not work for them, and they opened the consulting service, and now they are making agency service and so on and so forth. So the Amazon agency service is just like a red ocean right now, where everyone is just offering their service at the cheapest possible, and then also service it's going to suffer because of that. But think of it this way: if it would come down to you are going to get a new phone provider with one line, and then you are going to see, all right, this is the service that the provider provides me. You would not call them on a strategic level and ask, okay, what should I do here and what should I do there? Clearly this is the $50 box that I'm paying per line, and I'm happy with it. If my internet it's functioning properly, if I have service 90% coverage on whatever I am, most traveling or for work or so on, if I have that I'm good to go, right? You're not going to ask them and call them constantly and talk with customer service and so on. You're not going to do that, just because you know that if they already provided whatever you were looking for the $50, you are okay with that. Now, what I'm seeing on my end when it comes down to, am I paying for execution only or execution plus strategic consulting? Brands would always negotiate on pricing, but would never negotiate on strategy. They always want strategy. They always want someone who's trying all these things. They're the latest in marketing, the latest whatever it's in the ad console. And what I'm noticing is that while we also at Scale we are going to make sure that we are dedicating time for thinking, right? Thinking, strategic thinking, educating ourselves, growing, inclusively the fact that I'm spending 2 hours, 3 hours, or our managers would spend 2-3 hours within the ad console that might not even end up with, hey, are we creating a new campaign? Are we testing something? Are we not testing? But it's literal time investment on our end to make sure that we're going to continue to provide the best service ever. I think that when it comes down to this, it's really important that whenever you're asking for service provider questions, that's execution only. Whenever you would ask for execution plus strategic consulting, be aware of the fact that you might be paying higher. And whenever someone is going to offer these two together at a cheap price, I would say I would be very cautious, because usually what I noticed on my end whenever I was hiring providers that they did execution and strategic consulting also, or they did only execution and did not specify clearly that they are not providing consulting, I always ended up with false expectations, and then I was not able to be the partner, the right partner for them, right? Because they were saying, hey, this is what we're doing, and then I was expecting that they're also going to consult, but they did not consult, and there was the bottleneck of the founder being the strategies all in everything, and they didn't have well-prepared systems. It's just small task SOP execution. So what I'm seeing is that if a system is not strong enough and it still depends on the founder, that is something that I put so much time in Scale Wave to adjusting to ensure that even if I am still going to be the let's do it that way, even if we have people on the team that are strategic and can think that way as well. What I'm noticing is that if the strategy on the system side was not in place, then you were depending on the founder who was technically managing 100 brands. So that's really, really important for you to ask, is this execution only or is this execution plus strategic consulting? Especially if you're a smaller brand or a smaller founder who doesn't understand how these two are different and how they work, you're going to naturally assume that it comes both. Usually it doesn't come both. Or if it comes both and it's at a cheap price, usually that's also the quality that you're going to receive. Next question is, what are the signs that a brand and an agency are not a good fit? And why I put this question here is because I think that most of the time we have these, if they did not answer the way how I wanted, or if they did not answer the way I was prepared for, then it's for sure not a good fit. And what I saw on my end is either the brand or the agency did not ask all the questions that they should be asking, either they assume that the other party have done their due diligence properly, have gone through contracts, have gone through agreements, they understand clearly what they're supposed to do. And I think that is the biggest disconnect here when it comes down to making sure that a brand and an agency could become a good fit, but whenever they were not a good fit, it was like unrealistic expectations from either one of the sides or both sides. Next question is, what does accountability look like on your side? And this is really important, especially if you're the brand owner and or founder, business owner in this case, and you would ask someone who you would be hiring. Accountability can look in very many different ways. Accountability can look like these are the steps and processes that we're following in order to make sure that your account is still active, that we are doing these optimizations on our end, that we're making sure that account is in good standing, and also we can grow you towards profitability or towards scalability. That is our accountability metric. Now, if you believe that an accountability metric should also be, hey, can you go into more detail and find out this XYZ? That might be an accountability metric, but might not be anymore in the scope. So this is why I'm saying that most of the time, what is really good is knowing exactly what the scope is, and then you're asking things that are within scope. Most of the time, it's going to be scope creep, and simply it's just because you want to do so many things for your business, and just because you're seeing all these flashy things and everyone is talking about it. And fun fact, usually whenever everyone is talking about it and they are not able to give you clear example, clear details, how exactly they applied it and how exactly it worked, usually it's going to be just all these shiny objects that we should try this too, and you're throwing that into the provider and letting them deal with it. So when it comes down to accountability, just make sure that you are aware of what is their accountability system, because if they are accountable to you the way how they said that they would be, and you are taking like, that's for granted, actually what you're doing is you are setting different expectations for accountability, and both you and the service provider are just not going to be in sync anymore. Next question I would ask is, if my goals are unclear, do you help shape them, or do you only execute against what I give you? Let me tell you that this is something that actually none of the brand's owners that we ever worked with asked us. And it's totally fine, because most of the time it can be that your goals are unclear and you don't know exactly what you want. Some other times it can be that your goals are unrealistic, and why I'm saying unrealistic is you have just this big goal of getting to 1 million, and right now you're at $10,000 and you cannot afford revenue growth as quick as possible, to pace it as quick as possible for you to get to that 1 million faster than 2 years, 3 years, 5 years even, So that's why I'm saying that sometimes what can happen is that your goals are going to be unclear to you as well. And then what you would need is strategic feedback, strategic input. Here, hear me out. This is not anymore management. This is consulting. And if the service provider is able to answer, just be very cautious that if they answer to this question, you might be asking other questions, and then you might be asking, okay, why are you not able to answer me this? Well, if you're hiring someone who's going to provide you only with service, it's highly likely that they're not going to be able to help with this because you're expecting things to be done for free that they might be charging for. So make sure that if you're going to not be clear about your goals and not be clear about your what is next, especially if you're hiring someone for management only, it's really out of their league. If you're hiring someone who's able to help you both with management and with strategic thinking, this question should get answered. And if you're especially paying for that. But what I'm seeing is most of the time is just this pressure from either positions that are above you, like C-suite or so on, and they are going to pressure you into, okay, strategically, think strategically, and I don't know how to think for this strategically because I myself don't know it, and then you're going just to put pressure on your providers. Again, I'm not talking about, hey, you're doing this so wrong. I'm talking about from the point of view that I get you, this can happen. I just want to make you aware that usually when it comes down to if you're not clear about your goals, the directions that you're going to give also are going to be unclear to, or are going to go to default to maintenance mode, just because that's what you hired for. All right, next question. What goals do you expect me to bring to the table before we start? In the past 5 years, since we've been working with brands, one gentleman asked me this question, and that's why this question is on my list today, because most of the time everyone expects that you're bringing everything to the table, and they are like, oh yeah, you have the honor to work for me. What I believe here, it would be a great way for you to also understand what comes down to you, besides you're just paying for a service, is, hey, I know that you're going to take over an account that is mine. I know that I have these permissions. What permissions do you need? How quickly do you need them? How can I be of service as quick as possible so you have access to whatever tools you need right now within my account? And believe me or not, usually there's a lot of back and forth when it comes down, unless it's a software or so on that it's already plugging within right away and they are just set up. If you need certain access, even on an account level basis or even on specific parts of the account, we just had an experience with a brand not long ago who we needed, I think it was brand tailor promotion access, something like that, yeah. And for 2 months we were waiting. And we were waiting and we were waiting. And once that we had access to that part of the account and more parts of the account, we literally just increased profits by 20% month over month, just like that, very easily, just because we had access to whatever we asked for the moment that we onboarded. So this is why I'm saying that it's going to be really important for you that, hey, I gave you a fair chance. I asked, what access do you need? Tell me now, so it's out of mind, and then you have all the access, and then I can really see if you're going to perform the way how you said that you're going to perform. Super, super small detail, yet this is something that I'm seeing. Usually it's a lot of time consumed, a lot of delay, just because there's no right or correct access or all the access that one would need in order to start managing an account. Next question. Again, no one is really asking this. How much growth can PPC really drive on its own? And this is a funny question. And here I would like to also share something that it's on my mind, because most of the time this is not as much about PPC growth, because PPC is traffic, so paid per Advertising is traffic. You're increasing traffic to a listing that might work or might not. That's all, increasing the right traffic, that should be the desired outcome. So you're not wasting spend on things that are completely irrelevant. But increasing traffic, this is how we are defining ads. We are increasing traffic to a specific landing page, to a specific listing, in this case, right, to a specific ASIN. Now, how much growth can PPC really drive on its own? Ads can drive a lot of growth. It really depends on the other things, that it depends on the listing itself, so the product itself. Do you have a good offer itself, right? And here, keep in mind, even if you would do this for a different business type, let's say that you are driving traffic to your own service business, and driving traffic, then, okay, someone saw the ad, clicked on the ad, but then once that they're clicking on it, your web page looks like this ancient, like 50 years ago, how, like a website like that. And then you are wondering, okay, why are they not converting? And it's the same thing also with ads. Ad can increase growth tremendously, and it has its own levers. It has its own ad types. It has its own, dynamic ads, static ads. So it has majority of the levers. Right now, my question, when it comes down to how much growth can PPC really drive on its own, is, have you tried the limits of ads? Because what is going to happen, and here I was just asked a question, a brand that we've managed for a long time, and right now someone else came, like new people in marketing and so on, and they're asking all these smart questions, and they're like, okay, but besides ads, like, what is the strategy, and what is like, you freaking don't understand. Your inventory supply is limited. We did not hit yet the limit. Allow us to apply all the strategies that we know so we can hit that limit. But what strategies? We're like, it doesn't worth anything if I'm going to tell you all the strategies that we know how to apply. One, because you don't understand them, and two, because you're going to think that if I'm going to share all these strategies, or if I don't know how to share or how to name all those strategies, I don't know my way around ads, So this is why I'm saying that it's really, really important to first know your limit when it comes down to ads. And once that you know that limit, but when it comes down to ads, then you can think of other things, pricing increase, increasing conversion for listings, and so on. But if you don't know that, asking how much growth can PPC really drive to on its own, it's really, like, you're not going to find out anything with it. Let me know if this makes sense. But that is something that also it comes up usually in conversations with brands. Okay, next question is going to be, before hiring a provider, how can I tell whether they'll help me grow or just keep the account maintained? This is similar to execution and consulting. Honestly, you can't. And I think that making sure that they are going to maintain the account, first off, it's a good sign. And then second, they are going to add additional things, additional levers and additional strategies to account in order to help you grow. It's great. But when it comes down to tell me that they are going to be able to grow or not, here, story. Actually, this is a story that it's for one of, we were taking over this brand, and they had products on multiple marketplaces, and also they were not clear on strategy. And we were like, okay, if you're not clear on strategy, this is what we're doing. On a month-to-month basis, we're increasing accounts by 5 to 10%. Really, we don't know exactly how it is going to work on your specific account, because we did not have experience with that type of product. We were like, hey, we're really good in ads. We know that this is something that already we're achieving for other brands. We are happy to take over the accounts. And then we took over, and then within 1 month, we applied multiple strategies that were new campaigns. And whenever you're creating new campaigns, your ad spend is just going to blow up. And then the expectations of this gentleman was that immediately they have to be profitable. And we were explaining that we cannot immediately be profitable, but if we're not trying out some things that we don't have data for it, what we're going to end up with is like, we are going to be good at managing the account, but if they want to spend less and less and less and stay profitable, we're cutting them out of market share. And I think that is something that right now resonates a lot with me when it comes down to, hey, how to make sure that first off, whenever I'm hiring a provider, they're going to both maintain and also grow my account, is are they able to maintain at least whatever is there? Because if they're able to maintain, then the next thing is going to be, okay, how much should I put in investment money wise to make sure that I'm going to set them up for success? Because otherwise if ad spend is not increasing to test, to see what works and to make sure that they can replicate the success, highly likely that you're just going to end up with someone who's at the end just going to manage your account, and that's it. Okay, 5 more minutes. We're already 33 minutes, actually 2 more minutes. If I need help beyond PPC, is that included or will separated? This is a question that you should be asking, especially if it comes down to a provider that is also offering other services. Now, the way how we did this in ScaleWave, we are still very much focused on Amazon ads because that's our expertise. However, what we noticed is that on the catalog end and also on the design end, just as I was saying a few minutes earlier, it's not enough just to bring traffic to a listing, but if the listing itself, it's not going to answer all the questions a customer might have in order to make the purchase, no matter how good our targeting is, how well put our ads are, how precise and how well targeted, the listing itself is not going to convert, or the conversion is going to be very, very low. So then it's going to be important that if you know that they are offering only the one service, the other services, are they going to be separately billed or is it included within the bundle? And why I'm saying this is because, especially because there are agencies that are taking on full account management. We did that 2 years, 3 years ago. Literally, we wasted money and we did not make the whole money. So I'm not sure how people are making money on that side or with desktop. But what we noticed is that, one, if you're going to offer everything per service, then they're going to perceive it as, hey, this is additional value for my brand. And then why is this important to ask is because what I'm seeing again, it's just because you have the mindset as a founder or brand owner, you have the mindset that just because you're wearing multiple hats, the person that you're hiring are also going to be willing to wear multiple hats while being paid the same amount. So I would definitely ask that upfront, because otherwise it's just going to be, again, a lot of misaligned expectations. All right, guys, I think this is the last question. I feel quite tired. I also see that on the Amazon ads side, we got some questions. Allow me to answer these only next week when I'm going to be back, and I'm going to answer only Amazon ads related questions. But that being said, this is going to be a wrap. Certainly hope that you enjoyed this one. I know that I enjoyed it, and I know that these are some of the questions that might seem to be obvious or might seem to be like, why are you even talking about these questions? These are the things that what I'm seeing on my end whenever we were we hired people within the team and we did not ask these specific questions. We did not ask it like this for Amazon related, but I made them specifically Amazon related for you. What I noticed is that there was always a misalignment of expectations and it just did not work. And this is why also I'm seeing some of the brands that we work with did not ask this question. And again, it ended up with they not getting the service that they hoped for, but not even sharing the expectations. And also, some of these were questions that I personally now introduced into my day-to-day whenever I am going to go out and look for a provider for our business. Let me know if this was helpful. I still have a few more questions of this kind left on the list. I would be more than happy to answer them. That being said, be good, take care, and hopefully see each other next week as well. Same time, same day, Tuesday at 1 o'clock EST PM. Till then, be good, take care, bye.